Hey, we are live. We didn't play the intro because it got turned off during our pre-recorded stream this afternoon.
Oh, holy shit. I'll fix it real quick. Can I fix it?
I don't know. We can just stay live. I don't care.
Damn it. Well,
Okay, we'll just go with it, Nick.
we'll
You
just
know
go with
what?
it. I'll put my headphones on in a minute.
It's Nick and Steve. We are not the techno gurus here. That's Plutarch.
Yeah, we fucked shit up. Oh, dang it. I didn't make it like a minute. It just shows you where my mind's at today.
So the title, well, let me move me over here. The title tonight is The Heresy of Equality. So we needed to come up with a thumbnail. And did you see our thumbnail? I'm asking
No,
the
I didn't.
audience. Oh, you can't answer, but you didn't see it, Nick?
No, I didn't even see it.
Okay. It showed Satan up in the pulpit preaching to the all the people in the pews with smoke behind Satan. So Plutarch asked Nick, "Hey, can I put Satan up in the pulpit?" Nick says, "Sure, that's fine."
They're synagogues of Satan. They exist. In
Okay,
Revelation.
so I want to address that first. Okay, because it brought to mind this. The smoke of Satan. So Pope Paul VI famously stated that the smoke of Satan had entered the church, expressing his concerns about the challenges and moral crisis facing the Catholic Church in the post-Vatican II era. So, on June 29th, 1972, during a homily marked by the 9th anniversary of his papacy, Pope Paul VI articulated his deep concerns about the state of the church. He remarked that through some fissure, the smoke of Satan had infiltrated the church, leading to confusion, doubt, and unrest among the faithful. This statement was made in the context of the significant changes and challenges that arose following the Second Vatican Council, which aimed to modernize the church and engage with the contemporary world. Well, Nick, as a Catholic, I have to say it's a good thing that the smoke of Satan is only in the Catholic Church and doesn't exist in Protestantism. Nick, you're muted or something. I can't hear you.
I said, bull crap. We had our pre-recording with Dr. Edgerton this morning. Great guy. Had some great conversation, good talk about his book and his upcoming book. But no, the smoke of Satan is everywhere. It's global, and it's persistent even in Protestant and evangelical churches. Just throughout the I'll say this as a Protestant, as their understanding of Catholic as throughout the whole. Catholic meaning throughout the whole. It's throughout the whole church.
Okay.
Protestant, Greek Orthodox, or Eastern Orthodox, and Protestant. It's everywhere. This smoke of Satan. Oh, should we be surprised? Hell no. What did Jesus call the Pharisees? But their father was the devil. And in the book of Revelation, in his letters to the seven churches, how he rebuked them, how he rebuked many of the churches. He even called one of them the synagogue of Satan.
So there's been a lot of debate. What is this smoke? What is this infiltration? I'm getting an echo, Nick. Do you hear the echo?
Yeah, that's my crap. I'm trying to get my headphones charged. I got both sets of my headphones screwed up. So
Okay.
Give me 5 more minutes, will be good. You can monologue for 5 minutes, can't you?
I can, yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so our topic tonight is the heresy of equality. So now I have to go through and add my notes.
No. It's Steve. It's worse. Remember, what was the title of the book that I had published? I did it
Something
in like a
about
month. The
yeah, tell me.
abomination of the egalitarian levelers.
Yeah. Okay, I have to window. This one. Okay. Okay, I got it here. Good. What is the heresy of equality? Well, I'll just read this. We all live in hierarchies. No one is equal. Just as a banana is not equal to an apple, although they are both fruits. In our jobs, we all have bosses or superiors. That does not make them better than me, but only puts them in a different role and a different level of responsibility, possibly because they have greater talent in certain areas. The subtitle tonight is Fealty Negates Equality. Although the three of us, me, Nick, and Plutarch, are Christian, we do not, well, heavily evangelize. We do use the Bible for truth and to reveal concepts that should apply to all people, whether Christian or not. The concept of fealty, which is allegiance to a higher authority, can be seen in the following Bible passages. So now, back to this banana is not equal to an apple. If I'm going to make a banana cream pie, I'm going to use bananas.
Yum, yum,
I'm
yum.
not going to use apples that feel like bananas. I'm not going to use, if I'm going to make an apple pie, I'm not going to use bananas. They're different.
And that would be a crappy apple pie. I would be very angry if you presented an apple pie made of bananas.
So, come on. Equality of fruits is not existent. Equality of people is not existent. Equality of two men is not equality. One is going to be, well, you can have two friends, but in most cases, some man is going to be above the other. As an elder to someone younger, I have earned that level of the respect of an elder. My boss, even though he's younger than me, he has my respect. He has the ability to reprimand me, to tell me what to do. And I'm going to follow his, I'm going to do what he says. If I don't, well, I suppose I could lose my job. I suppose I could be reprimanded. I could be sent home for the day. He has that authority. Okay. Does that make him a better man than me? No.
No.
He just has a different role. Okay. Do many of us bristle at this reality that there is a hierarchy and that no, in our day-to-day lives, we are not really equal and we don't have a problem with that. But somehow you move into the political sphere. Oh, it's all about equality. Well, Let's go to the Bible to see what has been said about equality. And since we're red pill manosphere guys, hey, we're gonna go to the man woman thing. So let's just start out there.
Absolutely.
1 Corinthians 11. Well, I guess it's wrong. It's 11 verses 1 through 13.
16 or something like that.
Okay, so just let me read this. Be ye followers of me. This is St. Paul writing. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. Oh, he's speaking with authority, saying follow the rules. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head. For that is even all as if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For the man indeed ought not to cover his head, forasmuch as he is the image and the glory of God, but the woman is the glory of man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. But all things of God. Judging yourselves, is it comely that a woman pray unto God uncovered? So let's unpack this.
There's a hierarchy.
Oh, damn! You jump right to the crux of this. There's a hierarchy. Are the rules?
You mean it's hard to understand? Is that really hard to see? Very difficult?
I don't know. Is it really that way? Are the rules different for men and women?
There's rules that are applicable to all mankind, and there's rules specific to the sexes.
There's
Which you see
rules,
exemplified in
specific
this passage.
rules for men. There's specific rules for women.
Right.
And you know what? In my job, there's specific rules for me as the worker. There are
Right.
different rules for my supervisor as my boss. He has different rules. He can do things that I can't do. I can do things he can't do. We're different.
Right.
And the rules are different. So, here's a funny thing. In verse 11, there's a little bit of complementarity in here. Neither is the man, 12. For as the woman is from the man, okay, Genesis 3, creation, woman was created of a rib of the man. Where does the man come from? The man is born of a woman. All of us except Adam. So we all come from the woman. So there is an ebb and a flow.
But
There's a hierarchy. There's an order here.
Yeah.
When you're a young man, you are under the authority of your mother.
Well, that's the fifth commandment, right? Honor your father and your mother, right? It's not just father.
Absolutely. So your position depends on your age, state of life. So the
Oh yeah,
hierarchy can change.
Well, the Westminster Shorter Catechism, Larger Catechism makes all these distinctions between superiors, inferiors, and equals regarding your office. Where you are in your office between family, church, and commonwealth, but also according to your age and gifts and wisdom.
And they're not set in stone.
No. So the king,
For
you even see this
instance,
in the Bible where King Solomon has a respect for his mother, even though he's the king of Israel, right? He
true.
still
And
respects
we
his mother.
all and we all should.
Right.
But even in life, this happens. Okay, in my job as a truck driver, my former supervisor at a previous job, he left that company before I left. We both left. Then I'm working as a truck driver at a new company. And 5 years later, he joins as a truck driver. So now, instead of being my supervisor, we're equals, except we're not quite equals because I'm way higher in seniority than he is. That doesn't give me
Right.
the ability to tell him what to do, just gives me the greater privilege of choosing what I want to do before he has a chance to choose.
But he's
So
still your father at the
these,
same time.
well, he wasn't, he was younger than me. He used to be my supervisor, now he's not.
I thought you were talking about your
So
father. Sorry, excuse me.
no, just about another guy I knew. So
Okay.
okay, our relative positions changed. You get a promotion at work. All of a sudden, you move into a position of authority over your former coworkers. Okay, men, it's it's
That
it's a
happens.
fluid process, but equality is never a constant. There is no equality. There is no equality
Yeah.
in the sexes. Now we all are equally loved by God. We are all have souls of equal value. But that doesn't mean we're equal in all things.
Well, if you want to say you're equal in all things, you would have to say that spiritual truth flies in the face of reality. Like I can lift more than most guys that I know. So I am higher than them in that respect. But hey, some of those guys might have a position of authority. They might be a representative, a judge, a governor, a senator. They're higher than me on a different spectrum. Or, hey, they might be older. They might be a wiser man in the church. Even though I have recently reclaimed my title of pastor, but still they might have the age of wisdom over me. Hey, they might know more than me on a certain topic, and they would be my superior in that respect. And that's okay.
Well, for instance, and it could go both ways. If Nick was pastor of a church and I was a member of his church, as the pastor, he would have authority over me. But at the same time, as his elder, I would have a certain level of wisdom and authority over him and all younger men. It's situationally dependent.
I wouldn't say well, it's I would say naturally and providentially dependent.
But now let's get back to men and women. I'm just going to say this flat out, and it's going to, a lot of people will disagree with this. In all cases, the man has authority over the woman because he has greater responsibility.
Okay.
And St. Paul says this. He says this. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. Okay, I have a boss. The head of the woman is the man. It's not a fluid thing, that's a constant. And the head of
Correct.
Christ is God. Okay, the Trinity is a hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy comes from the very nature of creation. It's the way things are. So a man, he's infinitely smaller than God. He's not equal to God. He's not equal to Christ
No.
in that respect. So, what gives women the concept that they are equal to the man in the marriage, in authority and responsibility and spirituality and raising of the children and all this? And what's the church pastor smoking when they actually cede authority to the woman?
Yeah, so I was visiting I was a pastor in the OPC. I was visiting a OPC church after this sermon. I did not go back. At the end of the sermon, he was talking about, and see, the woman were more spiritual than the men. And see, women, basically this is reality. A lot of women are more spiritually superior than the men. I'm like, okay, look, yeah, some women can be more faithful than the men at the time, but to take that instance where it was the women that were witnessed, came to the empty tomb and witnessed to the apostles, to extrapolate that to all spiritual existence of men and women is ludicrous. Yes, some women can be more spiritually faithful. You could say, in that sense, superior, but not like according to rankings among men, not like according to office. No, but they can have a genuine spirituality that's better than some men, sure. But to extrapolate that and say, oh, this is the case since then and even to this day that all women are more spiritually mature and superior than men is absolutely ludicrous and bullshit. And did I go back?
That
No.
that's actually a heresy.
Yeah.
He was promoting a heresy which leads to strife in the home, upsets the order of things. He's it's a false teaching. There's nothing good you can say about that.
No. And even though some women maybe have a greater degree of spirituality, does that therefore let them usurp authority? Does that therefore let them to take office? Does that therefore let them to ignore the natural order? Absolutely not. And to have exemplary examples and then to say this is the standard cannot necessarily follow from mere instances in the Gospels. There
Nick,
can be circumstances where women are more faithful than men, but to say that it is for all time is something else. It's
Nick, as a Christian and as a sinner and as a guy who practices his faith, as you get closer to God, do you get greater humility or lesser humility?
it should have greater humility. As I always, even when I was actively pastoring, I had a greater sense of humility. The more I read, the more I exegeted scripture. I read the church fathers. I read the people that died and went before me. I was struck every time of my own failings before what God says in the Holy Scriptures and what the people had noted from the scriptures that came before me. And it's a really weird thing that everyone says, "You're so hard on us." I said, "You don't understand. I wrestled with this for a whole week. I applied this to my own heart, to my own soul, and saw my own failings before I ever came and preached this message to you."
So this pastor at the church he visited, who was extolling the women for their spiritual superiority, did the women demonstrate their spiritual superiority with greater humility?
No, their heads were all uncovered, and many of them had butch haircuts. And I took offense. And I still take offense for women coming to church without a head covering.
So here's the thing. You can tell if it were true that women were more spiritually superior, closer to God, it would show in their behavior, because they would have more of the virtue of humility. Since they don't, I think this is a little bit of baloney.
Yeah, where's the humility when you have your butch haircuts, shorn and shaven, and when you don't even have a head covering? Oh.
So, you have anything more to say about this passage, or should we move on to the next one?
I got a lot to say about this passage, but I don't know if you want to hear it all. Look, here you have a clear hierarchy. It's God, Christ, not Christ in his sense of Godhead, but Christ as the mediator between God and man, the office of mediator. So God, Christ as the mediator. Then you have men and women. Does that mean every woman is under authority of every man? No, but there is still a sense of hierarchy between men and women in general, according to sex, even though not every woman has to submit to every man. Does that make sense?
She's not under the authority of all men. She's just under the authority of her husband, whom
or her father.
She took an oath or her father. Her
Right.
father is a natural
Numbers
authority.
chapter 30.
Her husband,
Numbers chapter 30.
She freely entered into that with an oath. So that's why she's in that position. And it's historically always been this way. It's traditionally always been this way. And I would say it even goes back to this is the way men and women were created. The first man.
Go to the end of that passage there.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if you have it there. If you don't, I'll add it. Okay, so there's verse 14, which is not there.
Right. I had to cut it off someplace.
No, I actually think verse 14 should be super important. I'll find it here in the King James. Not 14. I'll just go to 11. Not 14, but 16. But if any man seem contentious, we have no custom, neither the churches of God. Meaning that they have no custom of women coming with their hair shorn, men with long hair, men with their heads covered, and women with their heads uncovered. They have no such custom. And people say, oh, this is about the church of Corinth. Hell no. What is the Apostle Paul referring to in this scripture? There's two things. Primarily nature, creation itself, the natural law, right? The light of nature, okay? And secondly, the customs, the ordinances of the churches. Right? In verse what's that verse? Crap. Is it 17?
Yeah, I probably should have included that. I didn't understand that. That's
Verse
why I need
16.
Nick, the pastor, to explain it.
Verse 16. For if many men seem contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. Notice it's plural. It's not the church of Corinth. It's referring to the broader church environment, the church universal, the churches of God. And what have women
So
done but
that
thrown off this custom? They've thrown off not only the custom, they've thrown off nature and are living in direct contradiction to chapter 11.
okay, so it's churches. So
Yes.
that applies. That applies to Catholics. That applies to Presbyterians. That applies
Absolutely.
to evangelicals. That applies to Lutherans. That applies to Orthodox. That applies to all God's creation. So, for any of you who are not Christian, who are listening to us, hey, just relax. We're talking about the natural law and the order of things and saying, hey, this exists in Christianity. If you're not Christian, does these truths still exist? Yes,
Yeah.
they do. It's your choice whether to be Christian or not. You can rebel against this. You can say, well, I'm going to come up with my own scheme. I'm going to let my wife be head and have the authority in the family, and I'm going to be underneath her, and I'm going to live my life that way. Go right ahead.
And
It's
Steve,
not going to work.
why do they not insist?
What?
Why do they not insist on I'm going to go hard on this one. Why do the pastors and churches not insist what has been universal throughout all of Christianity up until the 1950s, right? With this head covering, which was thrown away in the light of feminism. Why? Why? Okay, I'll tell you why. And why do they not? Why do they not re-implement the head covering? You know why? They fear the women. They don't want to cause a stir to call them to account. They are cowards.
Okay, remember, I
Stop
read
living.
that quote from Pope Paul VI, The Smoke
Yes.
of Satan, 1972. Okay, Vatican II occurred during the 60s. And the new missile was implemented, I don't know, late 60s, early 70s, right around that time. Up until that came out, every Catholic woman wore a head covering. That
Protestant,
is
most
when
of the
it changed.
Protestants
Late
and still Eastern Orthodox.
60s, early 70s, it changed. And what did you say, Nick?
And it's still a common practice in many Catholic in Europe and the rest of the world. And Eastern Orthodox, I think, still requires the head coverings. So do some Dutch Reformed and a few Scottish Presbyterian, continuing from they continue the same doctrine from the 1640s, the Westminster Standards. They still require the head covering, but most have abandoned it.
Do you know when the head covering stopped being practiced by Lutherans, Presbyterians, Anglicans, Episcopalians, Methodists?
1950s was kind of a watershed, at least in
Okay.
North America. Yeah, Betty Friedan.
Okay.
It was influenced obviously by feminism and early forms of complementarianism, which would redefine this passage saying like her long hair is her covering. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You gave an
The passage negates that. If you read the passage, no. They're two different things. I had an evangelical friend of mine tell me that. And I read the passage. The Bible doesn't say that. You sola scriptura guy, the Bible doesn't say that.
Yeah, to your own, should be to your shame. What's interesting though is it's this concept. You give a woman an inch, what do they take?
Authority?
A mile? You give them an inch.
Oh, okay.
So not only should the long hair be a covering, no, no, no. What does this talk about in this passage about shorn and shaven hair? No, no, no. And what do all these young ladies, and especially the elderly ladies in these churches have? They come in with their like business suits and uh, all their cross-dressing garbage in contradiction to Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5. And they have this butch haircut. Oh, it's the long hair. You You cross-dressing woman, you took that we
Okay.
gave you an inch, you took a mile. Not only is you rejected the head covering, you rejected the long hair and you want to be like a man. You are an abomination in the sight of God. You are rejecting the natural law and the hierarchy.
So, Nick, you've gone enough on a
I'm good.
tirade here.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
good.
we need to move on to the next one now.
I love this passage. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Okay, Matthew 25, 14 through 30. This is known as the parable of the talents. You want to read it, Nick?
Sure. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who calleth his own servants and delivereth unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, another to another 2, and to another one, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability. And straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them over 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his lord's money. After a long time the lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with him. And so he that had received the 5 talents, came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord, of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. You can kind of scroll.
I
There you
did.
go. All right. Then,
Start at the
and
beginning.
his Lord said unto him, and his Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hadst not sown, and gathering where thou hadst not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gatherest where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which have 10 talents. For unto every man that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
So where was the equality here, Nick?
The only equality is that he gave them some measure of goods,
So the
but
Lord
not an equal measure.
should we presume the Lord, small lowercase Lord, represents God or Jesus?
Yeah,
And he
that's the
has
point,
servants.
especially in light of verse 30. Absolutely, because that refers to heaven and hell.
Okay. So you and I are both servants of Christ.
Absolutely.
Uh, does that mean that we are going to be given equal gifts and talents and respond? Okay, with the gift come
No,
the responsibility. Are you and I equal in the
no,
eyes of the Lord in our abilities, talents, responsibilities?
no. And that's okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't. We're
Hey,
not equal. But he still requireth of us to do righteously with what he has given us, because we will be held to an account with what he has given us.
so
There's
he's not
kings,
going to
there's
give.
princes, there's lords, there's the merchants, there's the farmers, and then there's still the servants. But yet, all are required to do so with their work unto the Lord and give him the increase. They all
No,
have a
is this a bad
responsibility
thing?
of some level of stewardship. Stewardship, you see here throughout, God has given men stewardship, right? Some have been given
Right.
more, some have been given moderate amounts, some have given less. But nonetheless, God holds them to an account with what he has given them.
Hey, is this not fair?
Who
Okay,
cares?
let's say I'm the guy who got 2, and Nick's the guy who got 5.
Okay.
Well, then I start to say, oh, but Nick got 5, I only got 2. You must love Nick more than me. And then I complain about it. Well, that'd be a
Okay.
stupid thing to do. Okay, let me
No,
let me say the
okay.
other way.
No, no, no.
Go ahead. Well, go ahead.
Okay. There's another parable.
No, let's not go there yet. Let me finish my point.
The
I
widow.
can
You know what I'm
say,
talking about, right?
great. Yeah, yeah, the widow's mite.
Yes, I'm probably jumping ahead, but that's what came to mind. Yeah.
No, I wasn't going there, but you can bring that up. But here's the point.
But she,
This is great. God is not going to give to me that which is beyond my ability. If I don't have the ability to handle 5 talents, I don't have to bear that burden, that responsibility. Great. I'm just going to get what I can handle. This is good news. I don't necessarily want to be the top guy. I don't need to be the top guy. Who cares? I just want to do the faithful job with according to my ability. Now, if I have greater ability, well, okay. Guess I got to bear the greater responsibility, the greater burden, the greater duty, all that. Okay, well, thank you, Lord, for giving me greater ability. Yes, yes, I'm in your service. I will use that on your behalf.
yeah, Shutai says the widow cast her last mite into the treasury. Yep. And that was in context of all these other people saying, "Oh, I gave this, I gave that." She gave her last mite unto the Lord. So even
So,
those who
again,
don't have much, it's what they do with what they have been given by the Lord. It's versus this
and
last guy,
and
right?
and
I
for
was
you
afraid.
people,
went and hid my talent in the earth.
Okay, for you people that are concerned with equality, you better put yourself in the shoes of that third servant who only got one, who's lamenting that he only had one. Thank God he only had one, because
Oh crap.
he didn't do anything with one. If he'd have had five, the wrath would have been greater. You don't want to be given more than you're capable of handling. And as you're capable of handling too, hey, there'll be another round. The next time around, you're going to get five. So equality doesn't even exist in Jesus didn't teach equality, or did he?
There's one equality. There's equality of salvation. Whoever calls upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Yes, salvation is to all mankind. Whoever calls upon the name of the Lord, regardless of your station, slave, free, man, woman, whatever country you're from, it doesn't matter. Because he is the new Adam, the new humanity, the Savior, only mediator between man and God, which is the Lord Jesus Christ. But besides, that's Galatians 2:28. It's not about equality in everything. It's about equality in salvation. Because all mankind has fallen short of the glory of God and has sinned. Therefore needs a savior, which is only in Jesus Christ.
Oh man, Nick, what a great lead in. Okay, so in summary, these two passages also reveal the heresy of equality. The first one shows that there is a hierarchy. Man is responsible to God, and the woman is responsible to the man. The second passage shows that Jesus treats us as individuals and assigns duties according to our abilities. Those with greater ability also have greater responsibility and authority. Every culture practices this in daily life. Now, Nick did talk about equality of salvation, and I have not clipped this one, but the parable of the workers in the vineyard. Nick, I'm sure you're familiar with that, and you can explain how that illustrates your point of equality of salvation.
Oh,
And
the workers
and
came
how
and
people complained about that too.
oh, what do you mean you're going to pay him the same? He's only been here for like an hour or so versus we worked the whole day, but he paid the master of the vineyard paid all the workers in the vineyard a denarius, a daily wage. That is the same as salvation. Everyone has full forgiveness of sins wherever they are at in life, whether they have come to faith in Christ in their early years and worked all their life, or have come to faith in Jesus Christ even at the end of their life. There's forgiveness of sins regardless of where you're at in life. That is that equality that they're talking about in the parable of the workers in the vineyard in Matthew chapter 20. There you go, Steve.
Oh, hold on. Just keep talking.
I think Steve had a. Where'd you go? He thought I was going to have this long talk. I can pull up the Matthew 20 here
Yeah,
real quick.
Nick, you disappointed me. I figured I'd put a
I,
quarter in you and you'd go for 5 minutes and then, no,
I,
make it short. Damn you.
I just summarized it real quick.
Okay. So there is some kind of equality, but it's not equality in everything.
Absolutely.
And that there was a complaint in that one about at the end when it was time for payment for their day's wages. the ones who showed up early and were working all day long were complaining about the ones who got there at the last hour, got the same wage.
Right. Yeah. And he said, but
Oh,
he answered one of them, I am not being unfair to you, friend. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous? So the last will be first and the first will be last.
but Nick, hopefully Jesus knows that I'm a better Christian than you,
Maybe.
and that I have been saved for much longer than you. So hopefully I'm going to get a greater reward than you.
That's
Hey,
between
how
you and God
often have you heard that attitude
all the
from
time.
Christian people?
That's all the time. And that I just say that's between you and God. All I can do is know that I at the end of the day am a most unprofitable servant. And um humbled at the fact that Christ came and died to save me, and that I by his grace have believed in him and I serve him. And I need to serve him better. I can say that, but I'll continue to strive to serve him better in my life. But
All,
you
all I
know,
can say is don't worry about that. Just, as St. Paul says, work out your salvation in fear and trembling, and
absolutely.
pray that you can endure the race until the end. Right?
That sounds correct. Was that
So stop.
Paul, or was
I
that
don't know.
amalgamation of Peter and Paul? But
Hey,
yeah.
Nick, I'm a Catholic. I can't quote scripture like you Protestants.
Okay. Okay.
I'm paraphrasing.
It's
Correct me
holy
if I'm
scripture.
wrong.
There you go. It's holy scripture. That's what God said. So there you go.
Oh, hey, there's some violence in the next one.
Uh-oh.
You know this one, the parable of the vineyard and the tenants?
Yeah. Ooh. That was a strong indictment against Israel, was it not?
Uh, sure. Initially, yes, but I mean, we
Start
can apply it
verse.
to our own lives too. Any lesson that applied to Israel applies to me.
So I'll read it, unless you have it there. Do you have it there?
I don't have it there. You'll have to
I'll
just
read
read
it
it,
then.
or you can bring it
Hear
up.
another parable.
You can.
There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard, and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another. Again he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all he sent unto them his son, saying, They will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said amongst themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto these husbandmen? They said unto him, He will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their seasons. Jesus saith unto them, Did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the cornerstone? This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in your eyes. Therefore I say unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation, bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him into powder. And when the chief priests and the Pharisees had heard his parables, they perceived that he spake of them. And when they sought to lay hands on him, they feared the multitude, because they took him for a prophet.
Okay. So, who was a vineyard owner?
The Lord.
God. Who is the
Absolutely.
son of the vineyard owner?
Jesus Christ, the Son of God.
And the people usurped him and killed him to take what was his, to rob him. And were there repercussions?
Yeah.
Okay,
The kingdom of
so
God was
wait.
taken from them, which happened in AD
Oh,
70.
yeah, okay, let's
It's
go
very
way
graphic.
back.
Yeah.
Let's go way back up to the top. 1 Corinthians 11:7. But I would have you know, the head of every man is Christ. The head of the woman is the man. And the head of Christ is God. So Christ is the son. Every man is the vineyard, the husbandmen who were tending the vineyard. They killed Christ. They usurped the authority to take what rightfully belonged to Christ or to God. They rebelled and they had condemnation. So, what happens in modern divorce? The woman rebels against the man. She takes him to court. She takes his money. She takes that which really didn't belong to her. Gee, is she inviting condemnation down upon herself for
100%.
violating the
Yes.
hierarchy?
Yes, she
Now,
is.
do churches teach this hard
No.
message?
In general, no. There's a select few, and I'm thankful for the select few, but in general, no, to our own shame.
Okay, is this a hard concept to
No, it's
understand?
not. This is basic natural law. I mean, even the pagans understood this to a pretty much same degree, maybe not in this theological hierarchy, but they understood the natural law of, okay, yeah, the head of the house was the man, and underneath the man is the wife, and then the children. Okay, the theological concept, sure, is here is God is the creator and Lord of the universe, Christ the only mediator, and the office of mediator is head of all mankind, and therefore in the church, under Christ is the man, and under the man is the woman. And when she usurps this hierarchy and takes his crap and rebels against her man, she's rebelling against God. She's rebelling against the hierarchy. And she can expect nothing else besides, unless she repents, she can expect nothing else but his condemnation.
Oh, Alana has a good comment. Steve loves provoking people by putting in a quarter. He does it to me all the time. She thinks I'm provoking you, Nick.
I'm not being provoked. You're asking about scripture, and I'm glad to explain it.
But I know
That's my
that.
duty.
But I also
My
know
duty.
that Nick is passionate about these things. So I put together a presentation and a concept. I don't even have to wonder what Nick is going to say. I know
And we all know.
exactly where he's going to be, where he's all going to be passionate about, what he's going to have my back on, what I can count on him to say. It is fun.
I aim to please. Are you not entertained?
I am. So now we're to this. Remember, the topic tonight is the heresy of equality. Now, I was hoping Plutarch could join us by this time, because I did outline this concept to him, and he would have something to say on it. The concept of equality is a value commonly held by Americans. Commonly held by Americans. The key word here is a value. A value is something that's theoretically derived from a principle. But more importantly, a value is a societal belief, believed to be good. It's a more. It's not a moral. It's a value is not the same thing as a principle. It's a common belief. We all have family values. What are family values? Well, we're promoting the unity of the family. We all believe in the family, don't we? It's a value, okay? The value of equality. Well, equality is obviously a good thing. I'm all for equality because it's part of my values. Okay, that's my point. So it is fully believed to the point that the concept of equality should not even be questioned. How many of you have ever questioned that the concept of equality is actually a heresy? It's not Christian. It is certainly American, but it's not Christian.
I would say it's not even really genuinely American. It's held among. It has a strong belief among Americans, but I would say it's even debated among Americans because,
Okay. Well,
he's,
let's
yeah, even some of our founders, and especially in the South, were strongly opposed to this concept of equality.
let's define that. The concept of universal equality.
Exactly.
So let's delve into that. So my belief, here's what I wrote. I believe the concept of equality is a societal value and is misunderstood. Equality is not a principle, nor is it consistent with natural law, Christianity, or patriarchy.
100%.
Now, let me read that again because this is really important. Equality is not a principle, nor is it consistent with natural law, Christianity, the Bible, or patriarchy.
Correct.
Okay, so where does it come from? Where does this concept come from? Well, what about the phrase, all men are created equal in the Declaration of Independence?
It's been butchered and interpreted so many different ways than it was originally
Yeah, we
understood.
believe that
And the way
it's
Thomas
all people.
and the way Thomas Jefferson put it, I don't even know if everyone around him understood what he was saying.
No, but did Thomas Jefferson know the Bible?
Well, yeah, he cut it in pieces.
He studied the Bible.
Yeah,
Supposedly, it's generally accepted Thomas Jefferson was not a Christian. He was a deist. He studied the Bible. He was a learned man. There were things he agreed with, things he didn't. He certainly understood the implications and what it taught, and he agreed with much of it. Much of it he probably deviated from, but he understood the Bible and the concept of equality. But did Thomas Jefferson promote universal suffrage? Everyone gets the right to vote? No.
no,
Did he promote a system where all white men get the right to vote?
no,
No. Property owners. And did he consider that men and women were equal?
No, hell no.
Okay, now, okay, I want to distinguish here between what he said and what is true. So, what he said, did he believe that white men and black men were equal?
No.
No. Now, we believe that, and I believe that to be true. So, that's what, okay, I got to be careful that I am not agreeing with Thomas Jefferson, but that's what he meant. He did not believe that different races of men were equal or have equal right to vote. He didn't even think that all white men should vote. So, what did he mean? And I've talked about this before. I see his statement as an abrogation of primogeniture, which is the right of the firstborn son to receive a double share of inheritance and replace his father as head of the family. The firstborn son was a title, and that happened at birth, and not merely a reference after the second son was born. Okay, so this is key. Jesus Christ was a firstborn son. Now, a lot of Protestants
Begotten.
believe he had brothers. That's immaterial. Doesn't make
Doesn't matter.
whether he did or not. Catholics say single, only son. Mary was a perpetual virgin. I don't care whether you agree with that or not. That's not my point here. Christ was the firstborn son the instant he was born,
Right.
regardless of whether any came after him. Firstborn son is a title. So Thomas Jefferson was saying there is no privilege in the firstborn son. So therefore, the duty to vote was only extended to property owners and not merely a white man's privilege. Okay, so there again, there's no equality here. There's no white man's privilege. It's selective, but the Declaration of Independence, which was written or penned by Thomas Jefferson, some say with a lot of words by Thomas Paine, who is definitely not a Christian, it was a negation of the divine right of kings. It was a rebellion against the king in an assertion that every man was a sovereign. Therefore, I have no man above me. I am rebelling against the authority, the hierarchy, the order. And we have taken.
I'm gonna push back here. Look, yeah, I don't believe in the divine right of kings, but kings still have authority. The problem was you had a foreign parliament implementing taxes via the king over English citizens and their own government, their own, you could say their own parliaments, you could say in each colony, contrary to the treaties that were established under the king. So it was rebellion against tyranny, not necessarily just the fact that the guy was a king. I have no problem with kings. But Thomas Paine had a problem with kings. And that was part of what, not saying every American, but that was his Thomas Paine and Common Sense, his pamphlet. Yeah.
Okay.
That was
I'll agree
more
with
of a
you,
kind
Nick.
of that's more of a deist rebellion with a kind of a Jacobin politic.
History is not simple.
No.
Okay, so did this rebel? You're right. They were rebelling against the authority in the parliament. the parliamentary taxes because England was in trouble and they needed money because of the institution of the Bank of England in 1694. And oh, wow, wait, this was 70 ish years later. After you institute debt and you compound it, it becomes unpayable after about 70, 80 years. Oh, right about this time. And hey, had there been a English Civil War? Yep. Had the
The
king
Glorious
been
Revolution you're
overthrown?
talking about? Which one? The
Yeah.
1688 or the one before? The one in the
Does it matter?
1640s through 1650s.
Was
Yeah.
the king king on the throne of the same lineage as the king 200 years earlier?
Well, you had the I might get this one wrong. You had different lineages for sure. You had the Stuart kings, and after them was another line, and then they had the one that came from the Netherlands came over, and they instituted him as a constitutional
Yeah,
monarch after the Glorious
William of
Revolution.
Orange.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So you had a lot of upheaval. Was the constant lineage, firstborn son inheriting? Did that continue through there? No, not really. The the current house, was it the House of Windsor? Is different than the House of Stuart. So there's not even continuity there. And so, yeah, why did the Americans rebel? Were they rebelling against the king? Were they rebelling against the parliament? Were they rebelling against tyranny? What was going on? We
they
could
broke the
debate this for a long
the
time.
king broke the contract. Yeah, the king broke covenant.
But in any case, we declared we have no king. We are our own boss. We are equal. We're going to take control of ourselves. And then here's the reason all men are created equal. So we are justified in doing this. Okay, maybe they were. But then this concept kept getting broadened instead of just
It did.
property owners, it's all white men. And then, well, okay, yeah, all white men, all black men. Okay, but not the Indian men. Because they didn't come about until what, 1920. The Native American men. They didn't get those rights. And then, okay, we'll just say, all men and all women. So yes, and we're all equal. And then the more equal we get, the more, gee, some people are better than others. And so because they're underprivileged. So we got to give them special privileges so they can elevate up to have the same benefits as these privileged people who bear the responsibility. So all of a sudden, oh, wow, parable of the talents, anybody? You're giving people who don't have the ability the same amount, same number of talents, the same dollars, same money as those who do have the ability, but they're not able to
Dang.
perform. But they're not saying they're not being held responsible for that level. It's all messed up.
Robert Louis
Plutarch,
Dabney was
thank you
correct
for
again.
joining us.
Robert Louis Dabney is correct again. Yes, Plutarch. You have anything to say there?
I've just been listening to catch up with you guys, so not yet.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of running out of stuff to say here, but I'll just move on to the next point. Equality is touted by feminism. Women just want equality with men. They don't want equal responsibility.
No.
Many people have taught that feminism comes from communism, and equality is a communist ideal. But we know, I mean, we've all heard this phrase from Karl Marx, which actually negates equality. From each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs. Is that promoting equality, or is that promoting DEI?
I would say it's promoting equity. Because equity is this idea that I have to take from someone in order to bring someone else up to I have to bring somebody down to bring somebody else. It's actually zero-sum economics in terms of Marxist economics, right? So, but it's not about, I mean, it's about equality in that sense, but equity is the term that they like to use now to describe it.
Okay, so is it use of equity to promote equality, artificially promote equality?
Yes.
So is this a good thing?
No.
You cannot make, who can make straight what God hath made crooked? The universe is not an equal place. The very foundations of the universe are not equal. The hydrogen atom is not equal to the helium atom. Like, if you want to go stupid with these people, right? The very foundations of the universe you live in are not equal. The expectation that we can make higher level constructs of that universe equal is more retarded.
So I guess, based on what you said here, people pay a lot of lip service to promoting equality. They don't want equality. They want equity. They want to redistribute from someone else to themselves. Equal outcomes without equal effort.
I would argue that with our economic system currently, the higher ups are doing this to the detriment of the people underneath, with inflation and control of so what do you call corporate cronyism and stuff. Um, it's actually a self-serving way of tyranny, imposing equity for themselves according to their own high status ideal. Yeah. And so what they're actually doing is robbing those of generally the middle and lower class. I'm not saying everybody is owed something, but you should be able to work. Ideally, you should be able to work and have something to pass on to your family and children and have a home.
Well, so
yeah,
I can describe what Nick is talking about in practical terms.
there you go.
Nick is absolutely right. How is that done in society? It was done particularly in the aftermath of the Great Depression and World War II in this last cycle by making deflation a dirty word. You see, And in deflation, you don't want to have debt, because your debt gets harder to service. So when you go into a period of deflation, you want as many people as possible to be indebted, and they usually are. It's actually one of the triggers of deflation, right? Because then you basically have willing indentured servants, because they have to pay off their debts. And most people, and particularly not of the elite classes, actually do, to some degree, try to honor their word. I said I was going to pay this, I'll pay this. Okay. All of the good things about your life were actually given to you by deflation. Technology got better. That thing became cheaper to provide, whatever the thing is. And you were able to access that at a lower price point than you were before. You know, the Apple II, for example, was $2,000. Today, you can buy a smartphone with 1,000 times the compute power for $1,000. And, you know, we can argue whether or not that made people's lives better. I would say it made their lives more efficient in certain ways. But that's an example of how we've made deflation a dirty word. It is not a dirty word, but deflation gives purchasing power back to normal people, because in an inflationary environment, only the super rich can afford to pay the high cost of things. Inflation is actually an anti-egalitarian, if you will, word, but it benefits people with lots of money, which is what you were talking about, Nick. How do you steal from the middle and lower class? Inflation. That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Okay, that brings in this authority and the greater responsibility of those in authority. So this concept of marks, from each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs. Okay, and Plutarch said this is equity. Did equity, this concept of equity, this concept, did it exist prior to Marx? In history, did it exist? I'm going to say it did. And you're not going to realize where it existed. Noblesse oblige. Okay, well, what was going on here? What is
Hierarchy.
noblesse oblige?
Hierarchy.
It's
Hierarchy,
noble. It's noble obligation. So
Yep.
the lord, the earl, the duke, whoever was in authority, who had the money, he was also had responsibility for those below him. And he needed
100%.
to use his equity, his wealth, his power to watch over them and make their lives better. That was the noble's obligation. So there was some equity in, and okay, they weren't equal, but it worked. This not okay. There's always problems in this system. There is
Right.
great travesties and all that, but I'm just saying, in general, the system under king and under nobility was not as bad as people think it is or think it was. And certainly our forefathers never intended this to be a democracy where everybody gets a vote. It was a representative democratic republic where there were levels of authority. So there was still a hierarchy. And so the masses of people deciding for themselves, gee, how's that working?
Okay, so Steve, regarding to the nobility, one one of the great strengths was that they actually still had to have a connection to the people in the hierarchy that were above them and below them. Their status was also dependent upon how well they governed and how well the people flourished and had safety and strength underneath their rule. So if they tyrannized the people, yeah, what happened is, yeah, the people, they might have short-term gain, but the people under them would lose loyalty. And if you taxed them to death, basically, they would have a lack of loyalty, but also they will have the hierarchy would have an immediate gain, but a long-term loss of the working of the lands and other guilds, whatever that existed at the time underneath them.
Oh, the peasants also had one thing. Don't piss them off because they have pitchforks.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't just have pitchforks. What else did they have?
Size?
No, they farmed the food. Guess who
No.
wasn't eating if he pissed them off?
Checks and balances here.
Natural checks and balances. Yeah.
Okay. Concepts matter. The concept of equality and equity and noblesse oblige and hierarchy. These are all concepts. In our modern world, too many people rant against perceived injustice without understanding that order and hierarchy are necessary. Without these, everyone suffers in the chaos of equality. That's my summary statement.
Hierarchy and order are natural. That's the natural order. To reject hierarchy, to reject order, is to invite chaos, the chaos of equality. You think of the Jacobins in the French Revolution. What happened? Oh, unity of mankind, and yet they all together became rogues. And society crumbled underneath that reign of terror. And what filled the vacuum of all these strong individuals of equals? You had an actual superior came in, and it was a dictatorship of Napoleon.
Well, during that French Revolution, not only did they overthrow their king and behead him, they also threw out the church, rebelled against the church. There were a lot of clergy, primarily Catholic, because France is a Catholic country, that were killed. I mean, their chaos reigned. They overthrew every order and hierarchy within their culture. It was ugly. And what came next? A tyrant.
Yeah.
Napoleon
Always fills a
was a
vacuum.
tyrant.
Power always fills a vacuum. I mean, you see this demonstrated over and over and over again in history. Yeah.
So, right now, today, our topic has not been about Charlie Kirk. It's a tragic event. And there's been a lot of talk about a lot of smart guys, mostly men, in the manosphere talking about what are the implications. They're seeing a lot of concerns. They are concerned that it's it's a turning point, and I don't mean that tongue in cheek. Where do we go from here? Is it upsetting or a challenge to our order, the order, whatever order we have today? There's a lot of concern about that. What will come from this? Now, we briefly touched on this in our previous discussion among the three of us earlier today, and we're going to do a stream on that. It's best to let things settle out for a week or two. See what's going on, see what the discussions are, and comment on that. And I think that this idea is Plutarch's passion. He's going to lead this one. What do you want to say about it, Plutarch?
Well, when we were talking this morning, this hadn't happened yet. And we were discussing going back and updating some of the things we had talked about before. If you guys remember, I think it was actually this time last year, we did a stream on, how do I say this for YouTube? Events that occur between two political regimes in this occupying the same geography. Really trying to work around YouTube right now, guys.
Can we say strife?
We can say strife. Strife involving two groups occupying the same geography. We were talking about this just hours before it happened, and we kind of looked at it and we said, yeah, we need to update some things. Of course, the Arena Zarutska stuff also has quite a bit of play into the pretty much the exact same problem. And so I haven't really formulated how I'm going to attack this, but I think I will do it kind of like how I did the H-1B stuff. If you guys recall, the H-1B stuff blew up and we waited a week or two. I forget how long it was. It wasn't that long.
Yeah. A couple weeks.
Yeah, but we figured out what closer to the truth of what was actually going on. And I would like to do that here. Dan Bongino is actually famous for saying, in any major event, wait 3 days. Right now, we all feel saddened. We all feel grief over what happened, and that colors your emotions. And I hate to say it, but this is not a time for emotions. What's coming must be approached with as much clarity as possible.
There is a divide. There is a struggle about concepts and about equality.
Yes.
And about equity. This is an ideological divide. And what happened today appears, we don't know for sure, but it appears to be an attempt to silence a voice. And, one of our principles is freedom of speech. It's an attempt to silence that side of things. And promoting dialogue. Well, you know what? We are promoting a lot more earth-shattering concepts than Charlie Kirk. That's why we're not mainstream. We never will be. But we're pushing that and inviting people to think rather than just buy into the status quo, the narrative, the popular agenda.
Well, and
That's
on
where
that,
the battle is right now.
well, and on that, what I thought was interesting is we would be talking about something, and then a few months later, the H-1B thing is actually a great example of this. Very recently, Charlie Kirk had been starting to agree with the anti-H-1B people. Kick them all out. We can sort it all later. And so this is how concepts move. They start in places like us. We're too small to matter. But then you guys, you hear them and you start repeating them. And then other people go, yeah, that actually sounds pretty good. That's a good concept. That's a good principle. And then the culture generates a value system around that principle.
Watch it happen. Because you know what? For those of you listening to this stream, I'm guessing we're going to get in the next week 50 views. If it's great, we'll get 70. That's it. That's all. But you 50 or 70 people, you're going to think about it. And if it's worthwhile, you're going to talk about it. And it's not just us. These ideas happen simultaneously from 100 or 1,000 different people. Not exactly the same kind of concept. And that's how things grow.
Yeah. I have some recent experience with this, but I would definitely encourage all of our listeners. Shu, I see you in the chat. Love to see that. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself rage. Because there will come a day when clarity of thought and clarity of morality will be the only thing you have to guide you. That's, in my mind, that's why we do what we do. I love talking with Pastor Nick up there. Why? Because I get a good moral sounding, a good moral backing for what I do. With Steve, I get old man wisdom, and from my dad too. My dad and I, we've been talking a lot these past few weeks for completely unrelated reasons. And my dad has lots of stories he wants to tell now. And I have learned a lot about the way the world was. And same from Steve. I have learned a lot about the way the world was. And when you study the way the world was, you can see the mistakes that were made. You can see how we got to where we are today. My contribution, I hope, to the group is a little more practical. But I'm trying to take the morality of Nick and the history and wisdom of the men and the old men, the graybeards in my life, and turn that into something that you guys can hopefully use in your day-to-day. Shu, I see in the comments, not right now, but in the future, I might be able to get Plutarch Senior back on, and we might just do a story time stream, and just to learn from our elders, because I know he's got stories he wants to tell, and some of them you guys could really learn some stuff from.
Oh,
so
I love that too. And you know what? For all you younger guys, someday you're going to be the old wise guy like me. I'll be dead.
Don't say that.
But you know what? Carry on. That's just the way things go.
Well,
yes. You get to be the old guy someday.
Well, I would remind our viewers. I mean, we are trio of Christian men, the history of Christianity was oral before it was written. It was spoken before it was written. The stories matter. And so I think that would be a lot of fun to do. He's not up for it right now, but I will try to work something out with him. But like that's the reason the three of us work is that we are all of roughly equal intelligence, but we all serve a different function in the group. And that allows us to build on the work of the other two. So
Well, I was
that's
commenting on that to these guys earlier today, saying how thankful I am for both of them, because these conversations, they bring up things that I didn't think about, and then I add that and I think about that, and it just accelerates the things I come up with. I could not come up with the things that I do, right or wrong, on my own. Put me in a room for 100 years, and I wouldn't come up with half the stuff that I come up with in 1 year talking to these two guys.
Well, this is why you need people of generally higher intelligence to gather together and work instead of being ruled by midwits, the tyranny of the midwit.
well, Nick.
Plutarch would say.
Didn't the church used to didn't the church used to do this? Didn't we have?
Yeah.
I mean, even the Westminster was it the Catechism was written by a bunch of dudes getting together in a room and writing down a document that was principles. Right?
Several documents over several years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much debate.
What?
Much.
You mean they were debating in those rooms and not just singing Kumbaya?
Yeah, in the Westminster Abbey. Yep. In the 1640s, 1650s. Absolutely. Yep.
Were there ever instances where they came close to, or actually did, swing fists at each other?
I don't think they swing fists at each other, but there was sharp disagreement at times.
Well, maybe not there, but in many cases throughout history, man and great debate have gotten so excited. They have gotten physical, and then they still somehow manage to reach resolution after things get that bad.
Well, and the Westminster Abbey was not the only time the church has done this. You have the Council of Nicaea. I know that the Catholic Church did it more than once. Of course, you have the Reformation going on. It is okay for men to sit down and sort things out amongst themselves, and then to come up with a list of principles, and then they send that out. And I'm not saying that we're the ones qualified to do that, but there's a little bit of who else wants to do it, because as Nick alluded to,
sure aren't doing it.
No, exactly.
It's a bureaucratic assembly of administration, and here, let's kick out the people that are challenging our ideas and with their post-war consensus that are not even backed by our own confessions and scriptures, but we're going to support the status quo because that's who we are as boomers and etc. Crap. No.
So the Charlie Kirk incident, death, is uniting a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Donovan Sharp and Myron Gaines today. Those people are fully supportive of what Charlie Kirk was trying to do. I listened to some Orthodox guys who say, yeah, we stand here. We don't agree with his theology. We can't donate our stream income tonight to TPUSA, but I sent it in a donation, even though there's much that I disagree with or have differences. Okay, that's immaterial. We hang together, and there's a lot of backbiting and criticism going on, but there's also a lot of people that differ with each other on theological issues, philosophical issues, political issues, who are rallying around the fact that this happened, and here was a man of good intent who was trying to do something. Even though I may not agree with everything, so what? We come together, we'll debate our differences, but right now, we are united around a brother who was taken out for speaking what he thought was the right thing to do. So it's a time to unite, and it's happening, and I'm seeing it. There's a lot of people who are going to attack, so that's why we're waiting to comment on this, and it's going to be great.
Gentlemen, Nick said it before, and I'll say it now. There are no enemies to the right of us. We might not agree with all the people to the right of us, but they're not our enemies.
So, in summary, yeah, challenge this concept of equality. And if you're one of our followers, okay, if you're keeping up with us, yeah, you have a greater obligation because you understand you are a leader for the future. You are important to this debate and to where this culture and civilization and country is going to go in the future. And your voice matters. And I'm sorry, you do have a greater responsibility to stand out for the truth, to explain principles and stand your ground for what is morally right. And I don't care, I really don't care whether you're Christian or not. You still have your morality. You know what's right and wrong, and I'll stand beside you.
The abomination of the egalitarian levelers.
Yep.
We better quit this right now because I'm setting a record under 2 hours, guys.
All right.
He's going to do it.
I don't know. Plutarch, we messed up. We didn't have our intro tonight, and I don't know how to set our outro. So
Okay, I'll fix it. I know what happened. We were filming something else this morning, and it got taken out.
Okay.
I have to. They moved my cheese on me, though. Okay, here we go.
Guys, please like, share, subscribe, share this to your friends. Please comment. And I think we're going to do something on Saturday on Elena's Bar of Fitness. Don't know what it is, but I'm sure she'll have plenty of words. It'll be fun.
Part 3 of body language.
Oh, part 3.
Yeah, she wants to talk about her favoriteest topic, which is deception and deception detection. So,
she would have loved our pre-record this morning. I was thinking of her.
Yeah,
talking about trad wives. I was like, oh, Elena would eat this up. But
all right, well, we're gonna keep this under 2 hours for Steve here.
All right.
The usual, guys. If you like what you heard tonight, want to hear more, drop us a subscribe. Supposedly likes help with the algorithm, but I'd never seen that to be true. So do as thou wilt there. And if you have questions about whatever you heard tonight, leave a comment. I will direct them towards Steve since I wasn't here for most of it. So my apologies about that. Real life intruded. But I'll be available for next week and we'll figure out what to do. So we will see you all Saturday and next Wednesday.
There was a firefight! Son of a bitch!